Welcome back to the channel USA Coins 69, where small coins tell big stories, and every piece of pocket change could be hiding a fortune. Today, we're digging deep into one of America's most iconic and beloved coins, the Lincoln Wheat Penny, specifically from the year 1958. Now, if you think a penny from 1958 is just old and worthless, think again. You're about to learn why a 1958 wheat penny with a mint mark might be more than just a relic from the past. It could be a rare gem worth thousands. And by the end of this video, we'll reveal just how valuable one of these simple copper coins can be, so stay with us until the end. Let's dive in. The Lincoln Wheat Penny is more than just a coin. It's a symbol. Introduced in 1909 to celebrate Abraham Lincoln's 100th birthday, it became the first U.S. coin to feature a real person, and not just any person, but one of the most respected presidents in American history. The design features a portrait of Lincoln on the obverse side, created by Victor David Brenner, and on the reverse, two simple but powerful wheat stalks framing the words, 1 cent, and United States of America. This humble design would go on to become a staple in American coinage for half a century, but by 1958, the Lincoln Wheat Penny was nearing the end of its historic run. That's right, 1958 was the final year the U.S. Mint produced the wheat design on the reverse of the penny. Starting in 1959, to honor the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth, the Mint replaced the wheat ears with the Lincoln Memorial design we're more familiar with today. So, the 1958 wheat penny represents the end of an era, making it extra meaningful to collectors. But what about the mint mark? In 1958, Lincoln wheat pennies were struck at two U.S. mints: Philadelphia, which used no mint mark, and Denver, which used the letter D. The vast majority of these coins were minted in Denver, and you'll find the D just below the date on the obverse side of the coin. While millions were minted that year, over 800 million from Denver alone. Not all 1958 pennies are created equal. Here's where things start to get exciting. Collectors are always hunting for coins in exceptional condition, and even more so if those coins have unique features, die varieties, or minting errors. Let's start with condition. Coins are graded using the Sheldon scale, ranging from 1 to 70. A penny that's been sitting in your pocket or coin jar for years may have scratches, wear, and discoloration, making it less desirable to collectors. But a mint state 1958 wheat penny, with strong luster, crisp details, and no visible damage, can be a serious find, especially when it carries the D mint mark and the highly coveted full red designation, meaning the coin still retains its original bright red copper color. Then there's the potential for minting errors and rare varieties. The most famous error associated with 1958 is the 1958 double die obverse, where the lettering and date appear double due to a mistake during the minting process. These coins are ultra-rare, and only a handful are known to exist. Even if your penny isn't a double die, there are other anomalies to watch for, like off-center strikes, die cracks, or repunched mint marks, which can all increase value significantly. So how can you tell if your 1958 penny is worth something? First, grab a magnifying glass and look closely at the date and mint mark. Look for anything unusual, especially doubling, or if the D appears punched more than once. Next, examine Lincoln's coat and jawline, and the wheat stalks on the back. Are they sharp and full of detail? That's a good sign. Coins with strong detail and luster, even if they've been sitting in a drawer for years, can be valuable, especially if professionally graded. This brings us to coin grading services. If you believe you've got a rare or high-quality 1958 penny, send it to a trusted grading company like PCGS or NGC. They'll assess your coin's authenticity and condition and give it an official grade, which can make a huge difference when it comes time to sell. And now, the moment you've all been waiting for. In a high-profile coin auction, an extraordinary 1958 Lincoln Wheat Penny was discovered. It featured the Denver mint mark, stunning red copper color, and had been flawlessly preserved in mint state condition with a top-tier grade. Even more, it displayed a rare variety that set it apart from the millions of others struck that year. After intense bidding from serious collectors across the country, this penny, yes, just 1 cent, sold for a breathtaking $84,500. Let that sink in. A coin most people would ignore or toss into a piggy bank ended up being worth more than a luxury car, more than a year of college tuition, more than most people make in a year. So, what's the lesson here? Always check your change. Don't underestimate the little coins in your collection. A simple wheat penny from 1958 could be your ticket to an amazing discovery. Today, we're spotlighting a true classic in the world of numismatics, the 1957 Lincoln wheat penny with a mint mark. At first glance, it may seem like just another old copper penny. But don't be fooled by its small size or common appearance. This coin represents a unique moment in American history, and for collectors, it can be far more valuable than you think, especially if you've got the right version in pristine condition. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly what makes this little coin so special, what to look for if you think you might have one, and how much one incredible 1957 penny sold for at a major coin auction. Trust me, the final number might just blow your mind. So let's jump right into the story of this fascinating cent. The Lincoln wheat penny has long been a collector favorite. First issued in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, it was the first U.S. coin to feature a real historical figure, something quite revolutionary at the time. The design was the work of Victor David Brenner, and it instantly stood out. The front side, or obverse, features Lincoln's dignified profile. But it's the reverse, the iconic two stalks of wheat flanking the denomination, that gives the coin its nickname, the wheat penny. Now let's fast forward to the year 1957. It was one of the final years for the wheat penny design. Just 2 years later, in 1959, the reverse would change permanently to feature the Lincoln Memorial in honor of the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. That means the 1957 penny is part of the final chapter of a legendary design that had spanned 5 decades. In 1957, Lincoln wheat pennies were minted in 2 locations, Philadelphia, which did not use a mint mark, and Denver, which used a D mint mark. You can find the mint mark just below the year on the coin's obverse side. Now, it's true, millions of these coins were struck. But that doesn't mean all of them are alike. And it certainly doesn't mean they all carry the same value. You see, coin value isn't just about the year or the mint. It's about condition, rarity, and sometimes, just sometimes, a little minting mistake that makes all the difference. Let's talk about condition first. Most Lincoln wheat pennies from 1957 that you'll find in circulation are pretty worn down. They've passed through hands, pockets, purses, and registers for decades. But a select few were never circulated, set aside in original rolls or collections and preserved in incredible shape. Coins like these are graded by professional services such as PCGS or NGC, using a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 representing a flawless, mint-perfect coin. Coins that grade above MS 65, mint state 65, and retain their original red copper luster are highly desirable and valuable. A red designation means the coin has retained that original bright, fiery copper tone, something that fades over time unless carefully preserved. A 1957 D wheat penny with a sharp strike, full details, and vibrant red color? Now that's something collectors fight for, but it doesn't end with condition. There are also errors and varieties that add to a coin's value. Some 1957 wheat pennies were struck with repunched mint marks, where the D was punched into the die more than once in slightly different positions. These are known as RPMs, repunched mint marks, and collectors absolutely love them because they're unique. Each RPM is like a fingerprint, no two look exactly alike. Other errors include die cracks, off-center strikes, or double dies, where the text or date looks slightly doubled due to a misalignment during minting. These are extremely rare but can command major premiums if authenticated. Even without errors, a high-grade 1957 wheat penny is a serious addition to any coin collection, especially because it's one of the last to carry the beloved wheat reverse. So, what does this all mean for you? If you have a 1957 Lincoln wheat penny, especially with the D mint mark from Denver, don't ignore it. Take a close look. Is the detail sharp? Does the coin still shine with that original red copper color? Do you see any doubling or unusual marks on the date or mint mark? If so, it might be time to have it graded professionally. A high grade combined with a rare error can turn a 1-cent coin into a small fortune, and speaking of fortunes, let's talk about value.in, a recent high-profile auction, a stunning example of a 1957 Lincoln wheat penny made headlines. This particular coin was preserved in flawless mint state, with bold luster, no contact marks, and a breathtaking red shine. Even more, it featured a repunched mint mark, making it a rare and highly collectible variety. Collectors and investors from across the country competed fiercely for this coin, recognizing its incredible condition and rarity. The final hammer dropped, and the winning bid came in at an eye-opening $79,800. Yes, you heard that right, a 1957 penny. Originally worth just 1 cent, sold for $79,800. So the next time you're flipping through a jar of old coins, remember, what looks ordinary might be anything but. The right penny, with the right history, condition, and minting quirks, can be a golden opportunity in disguise. Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of vintage US coins, and we're zeroing in on a seemingly simple, everyday coin that could be worth far more than you'd ever guess. We're talking about the 1951 Lincoln wheat penny with a mint mark. It's small, it's copper, and it just might be the hidden gem in your collection. Now, if you've ever glanced at your old change and skipped over the pennies, you might want to reconsider. Some of these humble 1-cent pieces carry stories, history, and, believe it or not, enormous value. Stick around to the end of this video, because you'll want to know exactly how much this little coin has sold for at auction. And trust me, it's going to surprise you. Let's get started. The Lincoln wheat penny is an American icon. First minted in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of President Abraham Lincoln's birth, it became the first U.S. coin to feature a real person. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the obverse bears Lincoln's thoughtful profile, while the reverse features two simple yet symbolic wheat stalks, framing the words, 1 cent. This design lasted for 50 years, until it was replaced in 1959 by the Lincoln Memorial reverse. That means that every wheat penny, including the one from 1951, is now a part of American numismatic history. But what makes the 1951 issue so interesting? In 1951, Lincoln wheat pennies were struck in 3 mints: Philadelphia, no mint mark; Denver, with a D mint mark; and San Francisco, with an S mint mark. The mint mark, if present, can be found just below the date on the front of the coin. While the majority of 1951 pennies were produced in high numbers, it's not just about how many were made, it's about how many survived in pristine condition. And that's where things get exciting. Most coins from this era have been through decades of use. They've been dropped, scratched, tossed into jars, and spent in every imaginable way. But a few, just a few, were preserved. Untouched. Uncirculated. Still gleaming with their original copper brilliance. Collectors use a grading scale, from 1 to 70, to judge a coin's condition. Anything graded 60 or above is considered mint state. The real treasures? Coins graded MS 65 and higher, especially those with a full red designation. That means the coin has retained nearly 100% of its original copper color, a quality that fades over time unless it's been carefully stored. A 1951 wheat penny with a mint mark, in such flawless condition, instantly becomes more than just a coin, it becomes a collectible. A valuable piece of art, history, and metal. But there's another twist. In addition to condition, errors and variations can skyrocket a coin's value. The 1951 wheat penny has several well-known error varieties, such as double die obverse, where the letters or date appear doubled; repunched mint mark, RPM, where the mint mark was punched more than once in slightly different spots; die cracks or cuds, raised bumps or lines from a damaged die that make the coin unique. These errors occurred during the minting process and were unintentional. But for collectors, that's the magic. They transform a normal penny into a rare find. A clean strike with an error, combined with a high grade and a strong mint mark, is a jackpot in the numismatic world. Let's bring it all together. Imagine you're sorting through an old box of coins passed down from a relative. Among the tarnished nickels and fading quarters, you notice a shiny Lincoln wheat penny. You flip it over. It says 1951. You look closer and see a D, or maybe an S, under the date. You start to wonder, could it be rare? You check its color, rich copper red. No signs of heavy wear. The details are sharp. You grab a magnifier and inspect the date. Wait a second, could that be doubling on the numbers? Or a repunched mint mark? That moment of discovery, that possibility, that's what makes collecting so thrilling. And now for the moment you've been waiting for. At a recent major auction, an exceptionally rare 1951 Lincoln wheat penny with a mint mark was offered to an elite group of collectors. This coin wasn't just any penny. It had it all: a blazing red color, a top-tier mint state grade, and a verified repunched mint mark. It was one of the finest examples ever seen of its kind. The bidding war was intense. Collectors knew exactly what they were looking at, and what it was worth. When the final hammer dropped, the price stunned everyone. That single 1951 Lincoln wheat penny sold for a jaw-dropping $86,400. That's right, a single 1-cent coin. Something that once bought a stick of gum, now worth more than a luxury car. That's the power of rarity, condition, and history combined. So, if you've got a coin collection, or even just a dusty jar of change sitting on a shelf, it might be time to take a closer look. You never know what kind of hidden treasure is hiding in plain sight. Today's video is going to open your eyes. We're diving into the rich world of vintage coins and shining the spotlight on one unassuming treasure that might be sitting in your collection right now, the 1954 Lincoln wheat penny with a mint mark. You might think it's just an ordinary coin, but what if I told you that some versions of this penny are worth thousands of dollars? Stick around, because by the end of this video, we'll reveal the jaw-dropping price one of these rare pennies actually sold for, and it's a number you won't believe. Let's start from the beginning. The Lincoln wheat penny is one of the most iconic coins in American history. First minted in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, it broke tradition by becoming the first U.S. coin to feature a real person, not a symbol, not a goddess, but the face of America's 16th president. The reverse featured 2 simple wheat stalks, giving the coin its now famous nickname, the wheat penny. For half a century, from 1909 to 1958, these pennies were a part of everyday American life, used during the Great Depression, 2 world wars, and the economic boom of the 1950s. Now, let's zoom in on the year 1954. In 1954, wheat pennies were struck at 3 different U.S. mints: Philadelphia, which had no mint mark; Denver, which used the D mint mark; San Francisco, which used the S mint mark. If your 1954 penny has a small d or S just beneath the date, that's the mint mark. And it's a detail that can make a big difference when it comes to value. While millions of 1954 pennies were produced, not all are equal. The real value depends on a mix of rarity, condition, and any unique features that set a coin apart. And here's where things get interesting: most 1954 wheat pennies were heavily circulated. That means they've got scratches, discoloration, and general wear from being used for decades. But there are a few rare survivors, coins that were carefully stored, untouched, and preserved in pristine mint state condition. These are the coins that collectors chase. Professional coin grading services like NGC and PCGS evaluate these coins using a 70-point scale. Anything above MS 60 is considered uncirculated. And if the coin still retains its original red copper luster, it receives a special red designation, RD, short for red, which significantly boosts its desirability and value. A 1954 D or 1954 S penny graded MS 65 red or higher becomes something much more than a penny. It becomes a museum-quality collectible. But wait, there's more to the story. Beyond condition and mint marks, there's a factor that turns common coins into legendary ones: minting errors. Yes, even the U.S. Mint isn't immune to mistakes, and when those mistakes end up on coins, collectors pay big for them. Some of the most sought-after 1954 wheat penny errors include double die obverse, where parts of the design, like the date or lettering, appear doubled; repunched mint mark, RPM, where the mint mark was accidentally punched twice, creating a shadow effect; off-center strikes, where the coin's design isn't properly aligned; die cracks and cuds, small bumps or missing sections caused by worn or broken dies. Even minor versions of these errors can drive up value. But when you combine a dramatic minting error with a high grade and bright red color, you're looking at a true numismatic treasure. So how do you know if your 1954 penny is valuable? Start by checking for that mint mark. Look below the date for a D or S. Next, examine the coin's condition. Is it shiny, with that rich copper tone? Can you still see fine details in Lincoln's coat and hair? Then pull out a magnifier. Look closely at the mint mark, the date, and the lettering. Any signs of doubling, shadowing, or misalignment could mean you've got something special. If your penny looks promising, it's absolutely worth getting it professionally graded. A high-grade, red-color coin with a rare minting error? That's the kind of coin collectors line up for, and now, the moment you've been waiting for. Not long ago, an absolutely breathtaking example of a 1954 wheat penny came to auction. It featured the Denver mint mark, an MS-67 red grade, and a stunningly clear repunched mint mark that made it stand out from every other 1954 D penny out there. This wasn't just a well-preserved coin, it was a near-perfect specimen with an ultra-rare variety. Bidders from all over the country knew how rare it was, and how much it could be worth. The final bid, $80,770. Yes, you heard that right. One humble penny, struck in 1954, sold for $80,770. It just goes to show, you never know what treasures might be hiding in your coin jar or tucked away in an old family drawer. A simple copper cent could turn into a once-in-a-lifetime payday, if you know what to look for. Today, we're uncovering the incredible story of a coin that might be hiding in plain sight, resting in your coin jar, buried in an old drawer, or quietly tucked into a forgotten collection. We're talking about the 1945 Lincoln wheat penny with a mint mark, a coin so humble, so common-looking, that most people wouldn't give it a second glance. But if you've got the right one, in the right condition, with the right features, it could be worth a fortune. That's right, what once bought a stick of gum or a shoelace could now buy you a brand new luxury car, or more. And by the end of this video, you'll hear the exact amount one of these beauties sold for. Spoiler, it's a number that will leave your jaw on the floor. Let's dive into it. The Lincoln wheat penny, minted from 1909 to 1958, is an American classic. It's more than just a piece of currency, it's a slice of U.S. history. Designed by Victor David Brenner, this penny features the profile of President Abraham Lincoln on the front, and two wheat ears surrounding the words, 1 cent, on the back. This was the first U.S. coin to honor a real person, one of the nation's most revered presidents, setting the stage for future designs. It's no surprise that collectors all over the world hold Lincoln wheat pennies in such high regard. Now let's travel back to 1945, a year that marked the end of World War II. America was on the brink of peace, soldiers were returning home, and the country was preparing for a post-war boom. In the middle of this historic time, the U.S. Mint continued producing everyday coinage, including the now iconic 1945 Lincoln wheat penny. In that year, the pennies were struck at 3 different mints: Philadelphia, no mint mark; Denver, with a D mint mark; San Francisco, with an S mint mark. You can spot the mint mark directly below the year on the obverse side of the coin, just under the date. While millions were produced across all 3 mints, not all pennies were created, or preserved, equally. Here's where collectors perk up their ears. Most coins from that era were heavily circulated. They were pocket change, used in corner stores and diners across the country. But a rare few were saved. Uncirculated. Untouched. Pristine. And those are the coins that now fetch eye-popping prices. Coin collectors know that condition is everything. A grading scale from 1 to 70 helps determine how well preserved a coin is. Anything above MS-60, mint state, is considered uncirculated. And coins that still gleam with their original red copper luster, known as red RD, are especially prized. At a 1945 D or 1945 S Lincoln wheat penny with full red coloring, no blemishes, and a grade of MS-66 or MS-67 is something truly extraordinary. It's like traveling back in time and pulling that coin fresh off the press. But wait, there's more. What really gets collectors and dealers excited is when you throw mint errors and variations into the mix. The 1945 wheat penny is known to have some intriguing error types, including double die obverse, DDO, where letters or numbers appear slightly double due to a misalignment during minting; repunched mint mark, RPM, where the mint mark was punched more than once in different spots, creating a shadowed look; die cracks or die chips, raised lines or bumps from worn-out dies. Off-center strikes, where the coin's design is visibly shifted from the center. These errors, especially when found on high-grade coins, significantly boost the value. Why? Because they're rare. They weren't supposed to happen, and very few slipped through quality control unnoticed. That makes them fascinating to collectors who crave uniqueness. So, how do you know if your 1945 penny is valuable? Start with the basics. Check for a mint mark, D for Denver or S for San Francisco. Next, examine its condition. Is the coin shiny with a vibrant red copper tone? Look for clear, crisp details in Lincoln's hair, face, and jacket. Check the wheat stalks on the reverse. Can you see every line and groove? If so, grab a magnifier. Inspect the mint mark. Any sign of doubling? Look at the date, the word Liberty, and In God We Trust. Do any letters look slightly doubled or blurry? These are clues that you might have something rare on your hands. If the coin looks promising, it's worth having it professionally graded. That one step could change everything. Now, let's get to the moment you've been waiting for. Not long ago, a coin collector stumbled upon a truly exceptional 1945 Lincoln wheat penny. It had the S mint mark, gleamed with full red luster, and was graded at an astounding mint state 67 RD by a top-tier grading service. But that wasn't all. It featured a clearly defined repunched mint mark, making it an ultra-rare variety. When this coin hit the auction floor, it lit up the room. Collectors recognized its quality and uniqueness immediately. The bidding was fierce, and when the auctioneer's hammer finally fell, the final price stunned everyone. That single 1945 Lincoln wheat penny sold for $93,370.1. That's all it was worth when it left the mint in 1945. But today, that tiny coin holds nearly a century of history, craftsmanship, and value. So here's the takeaway: check your coins. Dig through old jars, collections, and albums. Because the next rare find might already be in your hands. If you enjoyed this video and want to discover more hidden treasures in the world of coins, make sure to like, subscribe, and tap the notification bell so you don't miss a single episode. We've got more stories coming your way that you won't want to miss. Thanks for watching, and as always, happy collecting. You never know what treasures are waiting to be found.